are a nomadic way of life, and they also escaped from the four walls of cement.
So for me to go in a hotel or a city has already become a bit of a problem.
Anneke van Waesberghe, welcome to Significant, podcast by the Yak, here in the lovely Double Espresso studios down in Legian.
Thank you for taking me through all the gangs of getting here. It's a beautiful, amazing place. It reminds me so much of when I lived in New York, you know, going through the alleys and coming into a great place like this.
It's kind of like one of those secret, like the secret garden kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
well, we built it over COVID, and it was definitely utilising some space that used to be design studios. And now what we've done is we've made it into a photographic, video, and podcast studio. So there
Great
we go.
idea. And it's not very busy in Kuta, so...
No, that's nice, actually. No, and also it's very quiet because we're right at the back of the back. So
We could even park the car in front, which is
which is
unusual, guys.
Unusual, perfect. So Anneke, just to, how long have I known you?
Oh,
Did we get back that far? I mean, I know we got
let me say 10 years, maybe you remember another moment that's
Yes,
longer ago.
probably a little bit longer, but I think we first met due to tents.
That's right, exactly. Because I was the first lady around the corner who was making tents. Nobody was making tents. And all of a sudden I have this idea to make tents because I had a collection of clothing and loungewear and travel kits and things like that, all made from beautiful cotton. And one day I find myself having a lot of these because I used to take them on travels, because if you only wear white like I do today, it's very easy to choose. So you don't hang around your wardrobe to think about it too much. So you don't waste time. So you can do interesting things all day long, right? So I was doing that. And then one day I just wake up and I'm like, how am I going to display this? I got to do something with these things.
Right, so it's really you're looking for a backdrop.
Yeah, a backdrop.
You're looking for a backdrop for your clothing design.
Yeah, right,
brand.
exactly. And my travel kits and so on. So I thought, maybe a tent is a good idea.
Because you did have travel kits, like the hamper, the picnic basket.
The picnic basket,
yeah,
hampers,
absolutely.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Very beautiful.
And the travel kit had like a kimono, pajamas, mosquito net, sleeping bag, all to prevent myself from like getting in touch with bugs, because I was traveling a lot for the UN in those days to places where there were no decent hotels. So I brought that with me to take my 4-star luxury
with
into
you.
the moondocks, right?
Right. Very, very, very interesting. So then you did start with, and you've called it, what did you call it?
I called it Nomade first, so because it was in the spirit of a nomad. And then one day we got a call from Esprit Company, the big one, and they said, you can't use Esprit because it's our company. And we're also making tents, and we're also making the product that you make. Nowhere to be found, of course, but still I thought, okay, I'll change it. So next day I wake up and then I'm going Escape Nomade because it's more easy for people to, to remember.
And I think, and further down the line, I mean, the escape nomad, I think, is very much to do with what people are doing today, right? They're going across the world, they're escaping from the rat race, the navel escaped.
Right. I've
and
never
also,
used the word nomad forever. It was the name of my company, but I would never use it for myself. But I've started to use it because it becomes...
Well, it does mean what it means. I mean, because it's slightly tribal, moving towards a different destination.
Yeah.
I think also by being called an escape nomad, your beautiful tents, by the way, because they're absolutely stunning,
Thank you.
are a nomadic way of life. And they also escape from the four walls of cement that we are so used to confining ourselves behind.
Right. So when I'm staying in a cement building, I feel confined. So for me to go in a hotel or a city has already become a bit of a problem.
Because you've actually been living in your tent.
There's no energy there because, the cement blocks every energy in your body. So when you're living in a tent, and you're also close to nature because nature comes in, you're walking in and out, and it's like, it becomes one, yeah? So you're so much more connected to the environment. So you start caring and you start seeing details that I never saw before. You know, whatever, the butterflies fly around you and whatever, the bees and the birds, zoom, one just flies through the tent, one side in, the other side out. I mean, it's just wonderful.
Totally communing with nature.
Totally, yeah.
And so how long have you lived in a tent? Because, I mean, I'm just going to say they're tents. They're not really tents. Actually, you can see from this book here that this is the tent.
Yeah.
So they're more... They're not solid, but they definitely are tent-ish.
Tent-ish, that's
but
right.
But they are very elegant and very out of Africa, if one of us has seen a movie like that.
Very much like that, yes, absolutely. So the interiors, I create them like that to have that feeling of being totally in the middle of the bush. And the tents themselves, if you say I live in a tent, that means I live in 5 or 6 tents. So one tent is like a bedroom, the other one is a bathroom, the other one is a kitchen.
Living without walls, right?
Living without walls, right.
As opposed to living in a tent.
Yeah, that's right. And then walking from one tent to the other, you're always exposed to nature, whatever the sun or the rain or the moon. I mean, it's so beautiful to walk from one pavilion into the other. Right. That's really unexpected.
And how many, because you build small pavilions that people are using around the world for spa tents, if we want to call them?
Yeah, that's right.
And how big would those be?
Spa tent could be like 5 by 5, yeah. So you can have 2 beds in there for massage.
And then your actual house, like your
the basic rooms, because most of the tents that we do are for resorts, yeah. So the standard size for most of them is 5 by 7.5. And we have standard increments of 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So around that concept, you can build 10 by 10 or 10 by 5 or something like that.
And I think fascinating, you can actually put them up in how many days?
Ooh, well, in the old
Not
days,
talking the plumbing,
in the old days, it depends on how experienced the people are. But usually with our team, if we have like 6 guys, we can do it in one day. But right now, when they're one tent in one day.
In one day.
And then, but now these days it takes a little bit longer. We do like 2 days, but then taking down is like 1 day. So I always say, if you don't like your neighbors, you pick up your tent overnight, you put it in a truck, and next day you're gone.
Gone somewhere else. I think it's such a great, that's such a great opportunity for people that maybe want to move countries, but maybe the country isn't that, has different rules and regulations regarding land purchase.
That's right. So if here in Indonesia, when you're using it for private use, you don't need a building permit.
Right.
But if you want to start a business, yes, you do have.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, when I started doing these tents, I was already thinking about environmental refugees, because I'm like an environmentalist. So I had that thought already in mind, and it seems to be happening because we get more and more people who want to live in a tent like I do. Like in the recent past, it's always like hotels, so people feel comfortable in a tent when they are in a hotel.
I mean, nowadays they call it glamping, and you do hate that word, don't you? Glamping.
No, I hate it so much because I produce such a beautiful product, and
it's not glamorous.
So
camping,
much
time
in it to make it really, really like so beautiful. Because my big inspiration was also the Aman Resort in Moyo Island, and I wanted to make sure that it at least looked like that, and it became even.
They actually have half of it as a wall. You know that, right?
Right.
Half it's a wall. Top is in it.
That's right.
So then, moving on from your tents, you have become a huge environmentalist and sustainable activist.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I've been
literally to the last nth degree of your house, which is no plastic. Nobody can come in with plastic.
That's right. And if you come and bring something in plastic, I will refuse to take it. So don't bring plastic to my house.
Right.
So
but you're working on this very interesting, I think it's called the Coconut Collective?
Yeah, that's right. The Coconut Academy, which is actually...
Coconut Academy, right.
Yeah, because, within all the environmental issues and things that have been happening already for a very long time, because I've been involved in environmental issues for over 40 years. And nothing really happened too much, but after COVID, all of a sudden, everything started to happen. But I already had all these ideas in my head to live in a self-sustaining way. So during COVID, I also further developed the Coconut Academy, which teaches you how to make more than 15 products out of a coconut and not waste anything. You can make bread, you can make ice cream, you can make alcohol, you can make...
So
just
You
like,
said soap, I think soap was one of them.
and soap, yes.
And then obviously
yeah.
you can also then, you use all the parts of the coconut for very many other.
Yeah. And actually, the idea is to go to the local communities and work with them and teach them what to do with the coconut tree and what would a Dutch woman like me know about coconuts and coconut trees. Well, I know less than they do because the grandmothers of this generation, they all knew how to make coconut oil and a few other products, but most of it they throw it away, right? So they throw away the fibers and all kinds of things that you can actually make bread from and cookies and ice cream and God knows what. So and then I have 16 coconuts on my land, so we actually calculated that I can live with my team. We can just live totally self-sustaining. I don't go to a supermarket anymore. And I went into an Indomart the other day and I just screamingly ran away because everything's still in plastic. It's just
There's been very little.
horrendous.
We just had Gary Benchkeep from Shingai Watch here this morning.
Yeah.
And he was definitely down a creek.
Yeah.
Trying to unblock a river. So that was, it is quite
okay.
scary. It is quite scary. But you, in your way, you're probably coming in from a different angle because I think your aim is to teach, educate. I think. That's
teach and educate, absolutely.
Is very much your.
And so I'm not involved with the day-to-day in my company anymore, so I have time to do research and to find all kinds of other ways to live a more sustainable way, because I think, like trying to save the planet just starts with you as an individual. Even with a small thing, even if I can save like one small piece of plastic, or the other day I was in the Alela Hotel and there was like a little plastic comb in a plastic bag, and I'm like, I'm not going to use that. I do want to comb my hair, so I just went like this. That's the way.
I think the thing to be is just being very, very, very aware of every move you do and the impact that's going to have. I think it's super important. This move that you did was to write this amazing book.
Yeah.
Right. That book has been instrumental in certainly allowing a lot of interior designers and architects, right, to have a little look of insight into the less impact they could have on the planet.
And also to see that there is a different world that exists out there that people are usually not exposed to, because I don't have the whole world coming to my place, of course. I have a lot of people coming. And of course they're impressed because everything is different, from the way I do things. I make a ritual out of everything, when you come for tea, I have a ritual for tea. If you come for cocktails, I have a ritual for cocktails. So it's always like, like slow life in a way. But when I work, of course, I can't do that slow because I'm so passionate for the work I do. And
so
also,
tell us a bit more about the book.
Okay, so I started to write this book just before COVID, and it was more actually, the first idea was to create a book about tents, and then I'm like, no, it's not going to be a book about tents. It's going to be a book about lifestyle. And then the next thought was, no, it's not going to be only about a lifestyle, but it's going to be about a self-sustaining lifestyle. So how can you survive without, having to go out in town to go to a store? So it's really all about that. And it also has all the influences that I went through in order to get to this concept. I've always been very much influenced by nature. And in the old days, in the 1920s, 1930s, that was like the Art Nouveau and so on. And those people were also very much influenced by botanic designs and so on. And I think that definitely has come back, and it comes back in many different ways. So basically my concept is like, I like to drape my tents in beautiful landscapes without ruining them with cement and so on. So just to be very light and gentle, and just as gentle as nature is to us, because when we have that moment that we can really enjoy it, we just like, we can close our eyes and we go like, oh, this is so beautiful, right? Like that, or a sound of a bird or whatever. And
transports you, we're very lucky.
it transports you to another world. And all of that is in your capability of doing it, because
well, we keep on stomping around the world like we were fairy elephants, I think. So.
There you go. Right. There was a friend of mine, Mary Edelson, and she and I we used to make like walks in the morning, and we do like the slow walk, and we would just step by step, and then looking at the grass, and then in the grass you can see, there's like whatever, a little whatever, an ant or whatever, anything that's there, the flower and it isn't, you see more and more and more. The slower you go, the more things
Being
you can
mindful.
Being mindful, yeah,
And I
right,
think
exactly,
sometimes the
that's the right
chaos of
word.
the world we live in
Yeah.
right now, it's so fast
Yeah.
paced, and with social media and there's so many more
Yeah.
digital
That's
platforms,
right.
we forget to look outside of our phone screen.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right. I think the
And,
caring is very important. I actually, what I've recently noticed, I have more and more friends and older friends who are starting to reach out and really, need us, as friends. So it's very important to see that also people around us are changing. The world is changing, of course. People are changing too, and we need each other more than we ever did before. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite interesting that you did this just before COVID.
Yeah.
However, then COVID happened.
And before COVID, nobody would have understood this book, honestly.
Right.
And when I read it now, for me, it's like
Makes
top
more
on.
sense.
It makes more sense, exactly. And I also talk a lot about the invisible. And the invisible is the things that people don't see because they don't take the time to look at it. And energy is also invisible, right? Electrical current, you cannot see it, right? But it's still there. And, and there's so many other things that people believe in. And the unbelievers are the people who are the ones who always need to see something before they believe it, right?
Right.
So there's like this whole movement, and I do write about that a lot. And I think there's really a whole new movement coming of people who do understand, that also with your thoughts only, you can create a world.
Well,
A lot of
with your
people-
thoughts,
the bubbles,
you
right?
do create your reality,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
right,
that's,
right.
I mean, it starts one
Exactly.
step further back from where people are used to seeing things from, right?
Yeah, so I think we're living in a very exciting time, so we're definitely going
Currently, you were
forward,
just
yeah.
in Jakarta with DEF. Is that
Oh, DFE, yeah, the Design
DFE,
for the Environment, right? which is,
Design for the Environment, yeah.
which is a movement that I've started a long time ago. And actually, it took a long time before it took off, and now it's finally happening. So we had an exhibition at the Erasmus House in Jakarta, showing Dutch and Indonesian designers creating new building materials that are sustainable. Right. So, and then the concept is actually using agro-waste materials. So like, for example, the waste materials from corn and the waste materials from rice, rice husk and so on, and coconuts, yes, of course. Right. So that also, like the farmers, they can have an extra income because, we will start buying, those waste materials from them and producing materials. And then the problem has always been, already for 40, 50 years that I've been involved in developing new materials, it was always like the resin. So we have recently discovered a new resin. It's like a bio epoxy, actually it's called, and it's like 100% made from natural materials. So it
is 100% compostable.
Yes, right.
As opposed to not quite compostable.
So basically, that is like a great invention because we can impregnate most of the materials with that material. So, and then they become very durable and very long lasting. So that's.
And so with this group, because it's a kind of a group, a designer for environment group. So tell us a bit more about what. So I think you're going to be at the G20.
Yeah, I'm going to be at a G20 with an exhibition. So
we're tell us a bit more about what that.
We're doing exactly. The exhibition is actually the similar exhibition as we did at the Erasmus House with waste materials from the building industry and so on. Same exhibition, but we're adding other materials that we have recently discovered, and that is like the use of basalt as a healthy building material, because like using cement and bricks keeps all the energy that we need to generate in order to be creative or to be human, actually. If that is locked off from us by the buildings that we live in, good luck. That's how we have lived for all this time. And now become the discoveries that, if you're living in a healthy building, not just only healthy building, but actually a building that energizes you, by stepping on the floor, because the floor is that kind of floor, and also the shape of the building has a great influence on that. So so it's like it brings architecture to a whole new era.
It brings on more of a spiritual, emotional level than just a
absolutely.
functional, necessary need level. Okay,
absolutely.
And then I think with these, you also you bring the whole house. Do I understand that to the B20 G20 meeting? So you have one wall made of Various different things, is that?
Yeah, various different things. So basically, I'm using the basic material that I'm using for my buildings, which are not the buildings yet, but this is what we're developing, is made from recycled paper. So it's like a paper pulp that we're using as a base, and it's called actually honeycomb, which is the kind of hexagonal shape of the paper that makes the surface very strong. So we're using that as a base, and then we are treating it with a basalt and the epoxy to make it twice as strong as steel, and 4 times lighter as steel. So it's going to be really a fantastic product.
And then, therefore, as you said, that it's light on the carbon footprint, just light on the footprint.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yes.
almost zero.
Easy to build. I mean, you don't need to have all these muscles anymore. You can just
Right. No diggers needed
Sophie
to go
and
down
I,
into the
we
ground,
could
right?
just build it together.
Right. That would be fun. That would be great fun. Right. And then for moving on from that, so to where you are right now, within the design for environment. I mean, how far do you think you can go with it? I mean, how far are you expecting people to follow you? Or
Yeah, the idea is that basically is inspiring them basically, and next year we hope to do a design competition. So then we can actually really go on much further and really also help people. I very much like to also introduce the people to let's say the people meaning like young entrepreneurs and young designers and even students. I want to help them to make the next step.
Right.
Into the business world, so making the introductions. And also I would like to encourage corporations to do something similar I'm doing. Like, you don't only think about the product that you're making, but you also think about the community, you think about the world, what can you do as a company to do something,
to either lessen your impact,
create a better world,
or encourage somebody else to create.
So
a
I
better
do
world.
design for the environment, nothing to do with tents in a way, but it has inspired me to do all that, of course. But you can just go beyond your product line, basically, and create something.
Think more of as a group or as a tribe, right?
Yeah, as a tribe, right? Exactly. That's right. And you can actually use that as a promotion for your products,
Right.
Because you're not like like for example, if you're making sports shoes, you don't only focus on the sports shoe and on a very beautiful, very thin woman who's like running on the beach or something.
Right. No, you can.
That's not. Yeah.
Donate some shoes to a football team in Sumbawa, right?
Yeah,
and then
right.
take a video of them playing football on a.
Yeah, right.
on
And
the-
see
on
happy
the
people,
beach,
see real happy people, and not like a fake person running there
Right.
and being beautiful and being chosen to be in that movie. Yeah.
Right. And just one more thing, and with the competition, can you tell us a bit more about the competition? How could people get in touch? So basically, if you could just delineate slightly, if anyone has an amazing idea, inspiration,
Yeah.
I mean, would you give people, if somebody thinks they've got a great idea, but
Awards.
maybe not have the ability to get there, would you help them along that way? Or, I mean,
Yeah, because like during the process of course of getting these wonderful people who are submitting their designs, there will be things that are really fantastic. So of course I want to help these people a step further, and introducing them to maybe angel investors or angel entrepreneurs or social entrepreneurs who actually don't mind investing more time than usual to develop a new product that that's made of sustainable materials, because of course it's going to cost a little bit of extra money, but later on you will save money because you're using those materials, and then of course the most important thing is you're going to save the environment. So
yeah, because we only have one, right?
yeah.
So if anyone wanted to get in touch with this design, I mean, how do people get in touch with you, Anneke, and how do they get in touch with the design?
Design
for
competition.
environment?
So the design competition will start next year. We already do have a website. It's like www.designforenvironment.org.
Like Design for Environment.
Yep. So you can look at that, and as the dates and so on will develop, because we don't have the exact dates yet. You can just look it up on that website.
And stay in touch, yeah?
And stay in touch. And I'd love to stay in touch with designers who have brilliant ideas, and especially developing new materials. And then, of course, designers who can make products out of those materials, right? That's another.
So we are looking for something that's a bit more vertical than just
Yeah.
let's go and build new walls with this, right? Okay. And then you personally, you've got your Instagram account?
Yes, we have the company account. I do not have an account yet for. I do have an account.
Escape
for Design
Nomad,
Environment.
for
Yeah,
example, for the tents.
Yeah, the
People want
Escape
to have a
Nomad.
look.
Yeah, Escape Nomad. Yeah, you can find it on Instagram. Yeah, that's right.
And then your book.
And then the book,
find-
you can also find it on the designforenvironment.org. You can find the book there as well. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Or actually, it's the website for the book is www.escapenomade-lifestyle.com.
Right. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's where you.
Right, because it's so absolutely. So,
You can find the book here. You can buy the book here in Indonesia,
Right.
and then you can contact me directly at every other country in the world. It goes
It's
to the publisher,
definitely a book to have that'll last a lifetime, that gives you an amazing amount of experience and inspiration as well. I mean,
Inspiration,
thank you for sharing this, all that's in this book with us. Thank you, that's been great. And it's been lovely having you here.
Thank
and
you,
Sophie.
Sophie.
Thank you, Anneke.
Love you.